So let's get this started then. First of all, thank you so much for joining us today on the world premiere of The Boxer from Somewhere Else, the Ken Buchanan Story. Extra special, we're hosting it in Edinburgh, as you well know, Ken's home. So it does feel like a really fantastic moment. My name's Karen Matthew, if you recognise my voice. I'm on fourth one, so I'm the annoying one that tells you if the bypass is busy, which it always is. So, hi, and thank you so much to you guys for having me along tonight. I really am so proud to see something of this magnitude happen in my own city as well. So yeah, I think we're all part of history tonight. I am going to be hosting this Q&A, so we'll kick off by getting to know who you guys are. I'll let you do that part. So we'll start with Jamie.
Hello everybody. Thank you all for coming along tonight. So I'm Jamie Steedman and I'm a filmmaker from Edinburgh, and I've been based in London for the past 17 years working in the film and television industry down there, and I do motion design and animation and editing. And I recently moved back up to Edinburgh, and now I'm back here, back home in my homeland.
Thanks, Jamie. I'm AJ Nera, and I'm the producer and distributor for this wonderful film. And I'm just really pleased to see so many of you here. In fact, it's full. So thank you very much for being here. Can I just say thank you for first of all for you to say, I'd like to mention about your background first. So mention if you can say a couple of things about yourself.
I mean, where do we start? It's a long and winding road. I actually did a talk in high school yesterday about career advice, and it took the full 30 minutes, so I won't bore you with that version. But yeah, no, Edinburgh, born and bred, presenter on Fourth One across the Hits Network at the weekends, and I do wee bits of presenting here and there, and also do a wee bit of acting, so this feels extra special. My two other worlds are kind of marrying tonight, so really pleased to be on this project with you guys, and yeah, excited to see the turnout. It's something you both should be very proud of, because I've been chatting to both Jamie and AJ, and the work that has been poured into this movie, it's a true labour of love, and I think that's going to translate when we get to know a wee bit more about their story. So we'll start with Jamie. I think everyone here is interested in the very beginning. How did this movie come to light? Why Ken? There's so many questions, so take it away.
There's a story behind this, which is that my father came down to London one time to visit me, and we were just having a beer together, and he was telling me a story about his friend who he knows who owns a rough pub in Edinburgh, and I kind of laughed at this. So to reiterate his point, he said, no, he's really hard, this guy. He knocked out Ken Buchanan when he was an amateur boxer. And I had never heard of Ken Buchanan due to my generation, my age at the time. But I was intrigued, so I went home and I started Googling about who is this person. And then I bought his autobiography and I read the whole thing. And I was completely fascinated by this guy's story, the fact that he's from Edinburgh, same place as me, and I just wanted to know all about him.
I'm just laughing how that started, a rough pub in Edinburgh. Mm-hmm. Most pubs then. I come from Dalkeith, by the way, high school, so I know what a rough pub is. No, that is so fascinating. So Ken was the inspiration to make a movie. So I get Ken is an inspiration to many people. I'm sure a lot of people in this room. His story is incredible. But what was it about you that thought, I need to share his story in particular? What about that?
So I called up my dad after I'd read the book, and I said, so if you are friends with this guy and he's friends with Ken, does that mean that you know Ken? And he said, well, I don't I don't know him, but I've met him a couple of times. And I said, can you arrange a meeting then? Because I would love to meet, I'd love to meet Ken. And he said, yeah, sure. So we, next week I came up to Edinburgh and we were having a coffee. And he was just telling me one story after another of like incredible stories that I realized like there's something extraordinary about this man. He's not like an ordinary person like you or me. You know, he was telling stories about fighting in South Africa during apartheid and, you know, getting caught in the middle of a riot and things like that. So I just, at the end of the meeting, I was already thinking about it.
Blown away, I think, is a way to put what you felt at that moment with all the stories. And I just want to know, how does one make a movie? I'm not a filmmaker. I don't think many people in this room are. It's a huge process. So can you break it down in layman's terms, how you got started and what processes you followed?
So I just asked Ken right away, nobody's made a feature film about you yet. Can I do it? And he said, yeah, sure, absolutely, no problem. And we started right away. So I just started traveling up and down from London, and I did it for a whole year. I just followed him around with a camera. And I didn't really have any proper plan, but I just knew that he was a great person at telling stories. So I arrived in Edinburgh, turned up with a camera, and I said, where do you want to go, Ken? And he would be like, let's go down to Craman, you know, because that's where I got married. You know, it might be a nice thing to do. And that's what we did. And then I filmed a feature-length interview with him where I just sat him down and I didn't ask him any questions. I just prompted him to tell stories about his life in chronological order. Because I had this idea in my head that this would work as a story, because I knew if you told it in the right order that it would make a film. And then when I started editing it, it worked.
I love how you believe from the get-go that there was a movie in this, and you believe so much in Ken and his story that there was no doubt about it. I think that is a good interviewer, someone that can just let someone have that moment. And I think, yeah, we're hearing from Ken in this documentary, but the fact that he led a lot of the storytelling makes it feel even more personal in some way. But as a project manager of a movie, that must come with its own set of challenges. Were there any bumps in the road or anything you needed to iron out or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much right from the get-go, I realized that I was in over my head because it was such a massive undertaking to do this. And I filmed it, I produced it, I directed it, I edited it, I did the motion graphics, the visual effects, and all of that was fine, but the hardest part was producing, which I had no experience of. So I found out that the costs involved were just like, they were crazy, and it kind of stalled the project for me because I filmed it quite a number of years ago. But I never gave up hope that one day I would manage to get this out. And especially for my dad, because he was my biggest supporter of it. And unfortunately, a few years ago, he passed away suddenly. So that was the thing that instigated me to really pick this project back up and start getting it back out there for him.
Yeah. And I don't think it can be overstated how difficult it is what you've done. Directing, shooting, editing. There is a reason that there's 6 minutes of credits after feature films. Like Marvel movies, it feels like years that they're going down the credits. The fact that you did that yourself is incredible, and I'm sure everyone else would agree with me. You should be so proud that you've pulled off a feature film. I think it's really incredible as well that this came from you being inspired by Ken, but this movie will hope to inspire the next generation as well with his words and story. So let's move on to you, AJ, the producer and distributor. So how did you guys meet?
Oh wow, so I needed some animation work done for just my movies in general, and I was recommended to contact Jamie, and Jamie did some work for me. I really liked his work ethic, and I was really pleased with it. And I just said, actually, thank you very much for this. If you ever need a hand with anything, let me know. And he goes, actually, I need a producer. Can you have a look at something for me? Because I feel like shelving it, but I'd like, my heart's in it. I'd like you to watch what I've done. And I saw it, and I connected with Ken's story, probably some of it personal, but I connected with it because Ken did everything from the heart, and I do everything from the heart, well, most things, and I think in life to do things is a balance between your heart and your head, and everything that Jamie did for me was with his heart. Yeah. And I thought, actually, do you know what, this is a great connection here. I really love the story. But I think you need a little bit of work to do it. You need a producer, but it's going to obviously cost a bit. We need to do it. And he says, but I can't put anything to it. And I said, I'd like to help you. Let's do it. Yeah. And I said, but I hope you don't mind. I'm going to really kind of like challenge you with some things and throw people at it. Yeah. Throw people at it. And I said, I'm not going to change it much. I said, but what I'd like to do is enhance it so that we attract a bigger audience. So I needed to attract the younger audience, an older audience, basically all audiences. And in order to do that, it has to be 5-dimensional. Yeah. So it has to be attracted to not just with your documentaries and not just a standard documentary. It needs to be really blown away. I mean, Jamie's great at animation, and you see that by tonight's piece, but just there's other elements to it which really kind of like connect really well, and it tells Ken's story really well. Yeah.
Thank you, and I love how you fell in love with Ken's story, but Jamie's story as well, and his work ethic, and to work with him as a person, and to get it to where it is today, cinema ready. Was there anything that you thought was the most important thing to bringing it to where it is now? What kind of enhancements, shall we say?
There's so many independents that want to do well, and they often rush things. They often do really well in 3/4 of the film, and then the last quarter they'll just want to close it off, and it's rushed, and you can really tell it with some independent movies. But Jamie's been working on this for years, like years. So he's had years of fine-tuning it, changing it, swapping and changing it, and so nothing's rushed. So that's the start. But to bring it to where it needs to be in any cinema, we all kind of look for things, and we expect everything to just be handed to us on a plate in cinema. We don't really think about the dynamics, and we don't think about the complexities of what goes on to actually making the film. We just want to see a good film. Yeah. But we don't really necessarily want to connect with the process, because we don't care about that. We just want to see a good film. But my job is to make sure it's up there, and it's up there with the best. And to do that, we need to, get sound onto it. We need to get colour onto it. We need to get the storyline strong, which is strong anyway. But we want to make it even stronger. So how do we do that? And that's what we've done. We've enhanced it everywhere, but not taking anything away from Jamie. It's all about promoting what Jamie's done, because it's his work. Yeah.
Sounds like a match made in heaven, if I'm being honest. So what do you want people to take away from the movie? What is your dream takeaway if someone was watching? What would make you proud?
For me, the most important thing is that Ken's story gets out there and people can finally watch it, because I've had emails from people all over the world for years. People have been emailing me, I've heard you made this film, where can I watch it about? And I've always felt disappointed that I couldn't show this, and so if it's out there, I feel like it's for Ken himself, that he deserves this. One of his biggest opponents, Roberto Duran, you know, a movie's been made about him in Hollywood, and he went on to become one of the greatest boxers in history. But perhaps things might have turned out differently if he hadn't fought Ken Buchanan on that first time. History might be different. So he played such an important part in history that I think I just want his story to be out there so that as many people as possible can watch it and know about it.
I'm sure everyone wants to watch the film, I'm sure, but I think it would be really great to get some questions from the audience. So we're going to put it out to you. Please.
Any questions for the director and the producer? Yes, go ahead.
Just a question for Jamie. Just your time that you spent with Ken Buchanan. What was your favourite takeaway, your favourite highlight? Any kind of anecdotes that you remember?
Well, I would probably have to say we went to lots of places together, but probably one of the best ones was he invited me to his home. And at the time he was just living in a small flat near Trinity, and you know, we filmed. I don't want to give too much away, but I filmed him there in and around his flat, and it just seemed so humble, just seeing this former world champion living his life the way that he lived. Sitting down on his sofa, just being an ordinary guy, just like the rest of us, but then actually knowing he wasn't an ordinary guy. So I really enjoyed that.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Apart from sort of copyright and distribution and various things, what would you say was the hardest part of the filmmaking process that you went through, Jamie?
Apart from that, filming, I would say, because it's my least favourite thing to do is be a cameraman. It's the hardest thing to do, I think. One of the most skilled jobs. So that was probably for me the toughest, but the best part was editing. That's where I'm at home. Absolutely loved that.
I think I want to add. Oh, sorry. On you go.
What would you like to do next?
I'm obsessed with documentary films. I always have been. So I would love to just continue on making more documentaries, and especially for the big screen, because feature documentaries are every bit as powerful and emotional as drama films or any other kind of movies.
Yeah. I was just. Oh.
So, both for AJ and for Jamie, after this premiere, what's the plan for this? What is the plan for this film? What's
That's a
the
good one.
path?
Good question. We're looking to keep it in Edinburgh. I'd love to keep it in Edinburgh and love to show it in Edinburgh, but not just Edinburgh, just in Scotland, and then a little bit wider if we can. I want to follow the supporters, follow the fan base, because it's really, I'd like to give back to the fans and connect with the fans. and also I'd like to take it to the States as well, because he had a really good following in the States, and I wouldn't feel complete unless we take it there as well. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan to me.
You're like, yeah.
But we
What
will be streaming it as well, but we want to really just get it out there, and just it's not the same as seeing it on the big screen. So you're more than welcome to see us afterwards and let us know your thoughts.
Fabulous. Anyone else? I was going to touch on that question about Ken, because I think most of us here are because we're fans of Ken. When you told Ken you were going to make a documentary about him, what was his reaction? Because that's not something you hear every day.
I think he was just touched that somebody who actually wanted to do that for him, because I think he's obviously been in the media a lot, but and there has been small documentaries on TV in the 80s over time, but nobody's actually spent this much time and this much effort on making a full feature for him. So he was really, really delighted. He was happy, and it was just great fun to spend that whole year with.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it. No one has done a documentary about Ken in this way ever before. So I think audience are going to get to know him on a much deeper level. And if you have seen his other documentaries, there's something new that they'll be able to take away from this, which is quite incredible and special. And you're all part of history right now, because you're the first people to see it. So if you've got no other questions, I would encourage you to think of some when you're watching the movie, and you can maybe chat to Jamie or AJ after and have a little one-to-one, pick their brains, because I know I've been doing that for the best part of 2 hours now. I just think it's so fascinating. But yeah, I would just like to extend another thank you and congratulations to Jamie for pursuing your dream and just going for it. It's so difficult what you've done, and you've taken so many years to get here, and I really hope you feel a sense of achievement that this is the point you're at, and I'm sure everyone will join me in congratulating Jamie right now. And of course, this wouldn't be possible without AJ from Agimax, and just bringing it to the level it is now, cinema ready, and for helping the world see Ken's story in the way that you're all going to see it today. So thank you to AJ as well. And thank you guys for coming along tonight. I will leave AJ with some closing remarks, and enjoy the movie.
Firstly, thank you very much, Karen, Matthew, for hosting this event. It wouldn't be complete without you, so thank you very much for doing that. Secondly, I just wanted to closing remark. Obviously, I'd love you to. I can't wait for you to watch it. But Ken, I mentioned, was a very, very humble person, spoke from the heart, did everything from the heart. He loved Edinburgh. He loved Scotland. Scotland loves Ken, and do you know something? I love Scotland too. So on that note, let's watch the film. Thank you.
Thank you.